Hey boomers, put those testosterone supplements down. Papa Yam is back to rag on Harley Davidson again. Way back in the before times of 2019, remember that year? The motor company announced a new model, the Bronx. I actually saw it at EICMA in person. Named after Pete Wentz and Ashley Simpson's son, the Bronx was and still is a motorcycle that Harley Davidson had no business making in the first place. It wasn't just teased or rumored, it was officially announced, written in blood. Hydra millennials, the Bronx is going to make young riders proud to be an American again. And then, after a bit of revisionist history, Harley deleted the Bronx from the public sphere, and since then, people will not stop talking about it. It's just a bit of a meme at this point, so let me set the record straight. We're going to talk about the origins of the Bronx, why it was pulled, and if it is actually ever coming out, and why it truthfully doesn't matter one way or another. Let's get into it. Back in 2019, Harley Davidson, under the leadership of former CEO Matt Levatich, announced new models that were to debut in the coming years. These bikes, which were showcased at the EICMA 2019, were powered by the new liquid-cooled Revolution Max V-twin engines. The new models included the Pan America Adventure Touring Bike and a Street Fighter-esque naked bike called the Bronx. These bikes fell under Levatich's More Roads to Harley Davidson strategy that aimed to introduce new younger riders to the Harley Davidson brand, which has always skewed heavily towards the older end of the motorcycling spectrum. Shortly after these bikes debuted at EICMA, they showed up on Harley Davidson's website saying they were set to release in early 2021. The Bronx was built using a 975cc Rev Max engine, the very engine that journalists described as being the power plant that would save Harley Davidson, which is a bit of an ironic statement considering it is found in just 3 of the 24 bikes in their lineup. That being said, the Rev Max engine is the most modern power plant to ever bear the HD badge. In stark contrast to the colossal low-revving air and oil-cooled dinosaurs that have powered motorcycles from Harley Davidson over the past 100 years, the Rev Max engine has liquid cooling, dual overhead cams, and make peak power at 9,500 RPM. The 975cc version that was to be found in the Bronx and now lives detuned in the Nightster 975 was said to make a peak 115 horsepower and 70 foot-pounds of torque. To be honest, the specs of the engine and the layout of the engine kind of made it reminiscent of a Ducati L-Twin. And yes, you might be saying, yeah, it basically has the specs of a Japanese motorcycle from the last 20 years, and I can't disagree with you. The larger 1250cc Rev Max engine that is found in the Pan America and Sportster S makes 150 ponies and 95 foot-pounds of torque. And by all accounts, it is a very fun engine. I've tested a Pan America several times, and I actually really like it. The Rev Max's engine is by and large a huge innovative feat for Harley Davidson, but to say that it will rectify the countless problems ailing the brand is probably a little overly optimistic. In addition to this new engine, which acts as a stressed member of the machine, quite the feat for Harley Davidson, the Bronx was shown as being pretty well equipped with high-spec lighting and instrumentation, suspension, and Brembo brakes. People were excited for the Bronx. It seemed like a genuine foray into unexplored territory for the motor company. Now, motorcycling might be considered somewhat of an expensive hobby. You gotta buy a bike, get gear, pay for consumables like fluids, tires, and brake pads, and of course, buy a stretched swing arm and turbo kit for your Busa. This all isn't even considering having to fuel up every time you go highway roll racing with your buddies. Kiss that MPG goodbye. But luckily, the free Upside app can make things a little easier on your wallet, allowing you to earn cash back on fuel when purchasing from tons of national gas station brands. And it's not just fuel either. You can use Upside to earn cash back from over 100,000 restaurants and grocery stores as well. And yes, it's real cash, not coupons or weird rewards or Bezos bucks. Cold, hard cash, baby. I do tons of riding for the channel as well as personal riding for fun, so I've been using Upside often. I even use it when I get gas in my car. And all you have to do is claim an offer in the app, make a purchase with a credit or debit card, and then follow the steps to get paid. Frequent Upside users earn an average of $340 per year, and top earners are earning up to $300 a month. To find out how much you could earn, click the link in the description down below to download Upside and use my promo code YAMMY to get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. Again, follow the link in the description to download your free app and use the code YAMMY for an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank. Thanks so much to Upside for the support. Now let's get back to the show. In 2020, Jochen Zeitz took over the role of CEO at Harley Davidson and essentially reversed the entire brand's strategy, doing away with the more roads to Harley Davidson ethos in favor of the Rewire plan, which was essentially based around squeezing as much cash out of their existing customer base as possible and putting less effort into attracting a younger audience. Sounds like a winning strategy. As a result, the Bronx was axed with little to no explanation. We still got the Pan America, which, although being an objectively pretty good adventure bike, hasn't necessarily had any earth-shattering impact on the industry as a whole, especially considering the new BMW R1300 GS, and I'm not really sure how many people abandoned their BMWs or KTMs in favor of the bike. That would actually be a good survey if you'd otherwise been in staunch opposition of Harley Davidson for your entire riding career, but were sold on a Pan America. Let me know in the comments down below. Additionally, in conjunction with the discontinuation of the classic air-cooled Evo Sportster, Harley Davidson released the Sportster S. This bike, also powered by the 1250cc RevMax engine, has very little in common with its Sportster namesake. And if I can speak candidly, kinda sucks. Am I the only one who wants to say it? It has none of the timeless allure of an Evo Sportster or any other vintage-inspired bike, and it is certainly not a sport bike or anything close. It's like a weird, stout, bloated roadster with 2 rear tires and a hopped-up V-twin that costs $2,500 more than an MT-10. And yes, I just defended an Evo Sportster, so sue me. I like classic air-cooled bikes. They feel nice to ride. From anecdotal evidence that I've witnessed, the Sportster S has done even less to attract new riders to the brand and certainly hasn't excited the existing Harley customers, a riding demographic who's made it loud and clear they have zero interest in liquid-cooled, high-revving, sporty motorcycles. They want chrome, a wicked sound system for butt rock, and enough room to throw Deb on the back while they go laying her down across the Clibbins. And probably the least attractive new addition to Harley Davidson's lineup of liquid-cooled sporty bikes is the Nightster 975, a bike that Harley Davidson completed on one side and forgot to complete on the other side. Seriously, look at the left and right images of this bike. Doesn't look right. The Nightster 975 uses the 975cc RevMax engine that was previously slated to live in the Bronx, but's been detuned to make 91 horsepower and 72 foot-pounds of torque. Otherwise, it's a bit of a strange kind of chintzy caricature of an old-school cruiser. It's way too expensive for what you get, but that's just Harley Davidson. To remedy this, they made the base model even less equipped and lowered the price, and then left the Nightster Special with a $13,500 price tag. So considering so many people were expecting the Bronx to come out sooner or later, the Nightster has been exceptionally disappointing. For younger riders who are not infatuated with the Harley Davidson brand, know how to use the internet where they can compare and contrast bikes, and have more financial concerns than previous generations, the Nightster is doing very little to bring them into the fold. Since current CEO Jochen Zeitz took over, you can see the way he has deviated from Levitich's original strategy. As consumers, we can see the effects in real time. The new models, specifically in regards to the Sportster S and the Nightster, seem in no way to be an indication of the future of the brand. Many motorcycle enthusiasts halfway expected a smaller displacement of the Pan America to be released this year, using a smaller 975cc engine to compete with the ever-growing middleweight adventure segment. But we actually got the opposite, a nearly $30,000 CVO Pan America. Neat. Instead of actually investing in new, attractive, value-driven models for the most recent model years, we've seen more expensive ST variants of existing touring models to squeeze more profit out of existing bikes, and attempts to revitalize the heritage and nostalgia angle with the Icons collection. And also, the whole attraction of the baggers has made giant touring bikes that can be also sport bikes. Not really buying that one. Seriously, a bagger bike in Moto America has nothing in common with a road-going bike. In this lineup, Harley Davidson has done more modern reproductions of models over the past. For instance, in 2021, they released the Electric Glide Revival. In 2022, they released the Lowrider Diablo, which was meant to be a callback to old FXRT models. In 2023, they had the Highway King, and in 2024, they re-released a limited Hydroglide Revival. So not only have they reduced their investment in new and exciting bikes, they're literally doing the exact opposite and spending money building building limited edition motorcycles based on historical models, then they're sold for a premium price. This might sound like the least attractive way to sell motorcycles, but for Zeitz, the proof is in the pudding. Under Zeitz, Harley-Davidson is proven to be selling fewer motorcycles, but making more profit on each bike that they sell. In the financial report recently released, Harley-Davidson shipped 7% fewer motorcycles globally in 2023 than in 2022, but total revenue was down just 1%. Zeitz brags about how many models have been eliminated from the lineup, which is ironic because they still sell so many bikes that nobody cares about. When was the last time someone walked into a Harley-Davidson dealership and bought a brand new Fat Boy? The idea seems so preposterous that it almost reads like satire. Quote, "After learning his teenage son intends on entering the trades, local father liquidates college fund to acquire a 2024 Harley-Davidson Fat Boy, a model unchanged since 1997. Zeitz has also made comments bragging about Harley-Davidson's increased profitability. He noted that in 2019, Harley-Davidson made a profit of $1,300 per motorcycle sold, and in 2023, that figure was $3,700 per motorcycle sold. So, no matter how backward this system may seem to you or I, according to the CEO himself, the system is working, and the Harley-Davidson Bronx likely has no place within that system. But you better believe they're still building Chinese Harleys with QJ motors, because remember, it's all about the profit, baby. Despite all of this, in 2022, Harley-Davidson did file a patent for the Bronx name under the intent to use filing basis, which is defined by the US Patent and Trademarks Office as a bona fide intention to use your mark in commerce with your goods and or services in the near future. This has just led to even more mostly unfounded speculation from HD simps and people writing clickbait articles for completely out of touch online motorcycle publications. Like, you'll hear someone on social media say, "I have a friend who's a sales manager at a Harley-Davidson dealership and he'd said that the Bronx wasn't canceled, it's just been delayed." My guy, Harley-Davidson is a publicly traded company with a board of directors, 6,300 employees, and 1,400 dealerships around the world. I find it highly unlikely that your acquaintance who sells t-shirts at Orlando's Harley-Davidson at Disney Springs is kept in the loop of all the comings and goings of HD's corporate decision-making. And I'm not here to speculate, I just want to lay it all out and set the record straight. Harley-Davidson announced the Bronx, removed it from the site, renewed the patent in 2022 with the intent to use, and never made an official statement confirming or denying the fate of the Bronx. But with all this being said, the middleweight naked segment has never been more competitive. You've got bikes like the new MT-09 from Yamaha, the Triumph Street Triple 765, the KTM Duke 890, 790, and 990, plus every Chinese equivalent CF Moto makes with the same 790 engine, the Tuono 660. I mean, there's so many bikes in this category. No matter what portion of the segment you're attracted to, whether it be value-driven Japanese bikes or more exotic European equivalents, the Harley-Davidson Bronx would likely be inconsequential. It will be significantly more expensive and provide less value for the price. It's a Harley-Davidson after all. That's what they do. Again, it would most likely compare most to a Ducati Monster, but are you really gonna pick a Harley-Davidson Bronx over a Ducati Monster? And truthfully, deep down in your heart, how many people actually care? Like, really care about this? Beyond the superficial comments of, yeah, it'd be cool to see a V-twin naked bike from Harley. Sure, it would be cool, I guess. It would be interesting to say the least, but when it comes to the Harley-Davidson Bronx, I don't think we need it. I'd even go so far as to say that few genuinely would even buy it or want it. Everyone just wants something to talk about. So what do you think? Is the Bronx ever actually going to be released? Would you pay 35% more to get an American-made naked bike with a V-twin, or should Harley-Davidson just stick to what they know? Should you ever trust the opinion of someone with a wallet chain? How many questions can I ask in one outro? For answers to all these questions and more, subscribe to the channel, sign up for our newsletter, and become a member over at yammynoob.co for exclusive content, automatic motorcycle giveaways, and much more. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later. Fact: Norway introduced salmon sushi to the Japanese in 1980s, contributing to the popularity of the dish. Goodbye.
Ah, I love being here inside of the warm embryonic fluid of Valentino Rossi. Me and him just sharing foods together. Maybe he's gonna eat some pizza or some pasta here in the hills of Tvulia. But you know where else it's nice and warm and cozy is this next episode of Yammy Noob. You can click on right over here. I'd love for you to watch it. But anyways, I'm gonna stay here hanging out. Me and him might go onto the track later, but I'll catch you guys later.